Welcome to another mind-bending, mind-altering episode of Bnomical's Corner. Man, it's been a little bit of time since I've been here last.
Yes,
Looks
yes,
like
it
you
has.
got some different stuff in the studio now. What the heck is that? Is that a float tank? You got your own personal gym back there? I see in one corner of this huge warehouse we're in.
Oh man, did you see the Shark Tank when you were walking through?
This is almost like Joe Rogan's gym or something, man. What the heck? Well, this is episode 2, and
Yes.
this episode today, as you see right down here, is retro games. Retro games. We're going to try to sum it up. This isn't going to be as long as an episode as last.
Yes.
This is also not live, so we could edit all sorts of stuff into the video. So, we're just going to start talking here about our experiences with retro games, games we liked, etc., etc. But there's a timeline that I made for the retro games, and that goes from my earliest system, which was Atari, and there really wasn't nothing before Atari that you could really buy commercially that was video games anyways.
Not that I can remember.
Yeah. It's debatable what the first video game was, because there was stuff before Atari that were video games. But Atari into the PS2 era. So that's what the retro is we're going to be talking about. That's different opinions across the map. Some people say when it turns to CD form, that's not considered retro anymore. So that'd basically be everything up until PS1.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm taking it all the way.
PS1 is definitely retro.
I say it is. So
Yeah, it is.
We're taking it. So Atari 2600. That's 1977 until year 2000, and that's PS2. Actually, 2001 was GameCube, and I consider GameCube also retro.
Yeah, same.
So let's start, man. We have already started, but let's really start. Let's start. All right. So, you want to talk about your first experience ever playing video games that you can cognitively remember? Because it's hard to remember things sometimes, but I can remember. But yeah, what was your first times, man?
My honest first time is when I was still living in Germany. I got a Tiger handheld. That was...
Whoo, you cut deep right there, man.
That was one of my first times
Whoo.
of playing video games, like actually owning one.
Woo.
And
I'm gonna do that one more time.
and
I've owned a couple Tigers, but go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I cannot remember the title, but I'm pretty sure it'll pop up in my head. But it was actually no, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Tiger.
Okay.
Awesome. Even though it was just
No.
bloop, bloop.
Totally, man.
Great.
I had Castlevania, Double Dragon.
Double Dragon. I've played that one. Yes.
I had a couple others. I had I think a surfing one.
Surfing. That's
Yeah. I had like a couple Disney ones too. I had Aladdin, but Tiger handhelds were the shit at one point.
Yes. They definitely were. I mean, they were accessible. You can find them at grocery stores. So,
and they were people. We were collecting them. Like I remember, there was like a couple years there where you were collecting them. You were seeing them on the school buses and stuff. Kids were bringing them into school. I was seeing them at Christmas time. They were cool. You know, they weren't even as good as Atari.
No.
Well, maybe some were better than some games, but.
Because they kind of evolved a little bit.
Right. They didn't go into depth. They definitely didn't touch Nintendo.
No, not even close.
Stature. But, yeah, that's funny as heck. So you started playing them?
Yeah. That was my first honest-to-God experience of owning my own. But, you know, of course, playing somebody else's. It was Atari.
Okay.
But that was my first. The Tiger handheld was my first owned, but I had family that had Atari, you know, going back to older systems.
Well, my first experience, when I was born, I think the Atari was already in my house. my mother and father were playing it, and I
You
heard
were
that
lucky.
Yeah. I heard that they were, they tell each other. I hear stories from both of them that they were both good at different games. I think my mom was good at Missile Command, I believe.
Okay.
And I think my dad was good at
Missile
Asteroids.
Command. That was good. That was a good game.
Yeah. I think my dad was crushing it on Asteroids, but I remember playing a few games. I remember playing those, but I remember playing real early. Like I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. I was playing bowling for Atari.
Oh man, that's great.
I just loved that game, and when you're like 4 years old, like it was like everything.
You latch onto a game.
Yeah. I actually have. I've streamed it before, but I have it for PS4. I have the Atari collections. You've seen those.
Yes.
And that has mostly everything that I was talking about right there. It has. There's 2 collections. I think there's actually 3 out now, but I have 2, and they both have like 50 games on them plus each. So, if you ever wanted to play Atari games, they release them constantly on different stuff. Now, Atari games they don't stand the test of time too great with new gamers, I guess you could say.
Yeah, you definitely could.
They stand the test of time for people that maybe grew up with them, and maybe even if you didn't, you'll get I'm sure there's the people out there that like them, but newer gamers, to put them on them, it would be probably pretty tough.
They wouldn't.
Yeah, going back that far,
especially like these younger Fortnite players.
At least Atari, But then I also have memories of my first Nintendo. Or no, Mario came with a Nintendo, and I think my dad bought Dr. Mario and Tetris.
Oh, Dr. Mario, man, you were.
And I remember playing. I remember playing them so vividly in my living room with my uncle there, and that was dope, dude. And and I think not too long after that, I got Zelda, so that just put me on to. Once you have Mario and you're playing Duck Hunt, you're already you're already wowed by what you're doing in your living room.
And it came with the gun accessory.
Yeah. And I'm not going to keep old man talking the whole time, even though I'm not old. I'm just saying. There was no, just like I said in the anime episode, there was no internet then. So that was like the other magical coat across, that it's hard to describe that shit now. Because there is internet now. So there'll never be no going back to no internet. There'll always be, You'll before you play a video game nowadays, you'll know everything about it unless you totally don't look at anything, but you could potentially know everything about it, know what you're getting into before you even start the game.
Before you even put your hands on it? Hell yeah. That's how it is. You can watch it from start to finish if you wanted to. Right.
So yeah, that was the first console owned from me was Nintendo, I guess. That's what I was getting at was I'm kind of blending into that first owned console rather than the first video game experience was Atari. Then I really started getting into it, Nintendo, that Christmas and at 6 years old, you start to be super aware of your surroundings more than when you were 2, so I was loving it at that age, man. It was so fucking fun, and it just set off me wanting to play every game I can get my hand on,
yeah, I mean, my first own console, I don't know if I said it, it was actually PS1.
You have told me that personally, but yeah, you're telling for the episode.
For the episode, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
It was PS1.
And that's awesome. It's interesting how you didn't start super late, but you started later than others may have, just because of your lifestyle. I know you were traveling a lot around the world and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's cool. PS1 must have been an awesome system to first get into.
Oh my goodness, man! It was so good.
Because that was a transition right there.
I actually had I can't remember the name of the game, but I had the scope that came with it.
Oh yeah, it was
amazing.
Yeah, they had one for PS. I know that they had a Super Scope for SNES.
Super Scope, yes.
That was for Super Nintendo, but they had another one, I believe, for PS1 too, for
PS1.
shooter games.
It was you had to shoot missiles, inaccurate as hell.
Hey, it's what we had and it's what you had, and I'm sure you had fun with it.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing.
I did. I had to shoot literally 5 inches off of the screen to get it to hit, but it was fun.
Hey man, that's where it was at. Our first video games that I played. I remember personally getting them at Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Is one of the first places I got mine. And do you remember getting them at Toys R Us? Do you remember? I'm going to tell you something real quick.
My first games were Electronic Boutique.
Okay.
For actually purchasing my own. But good.
Well, I was just going to say that I definitely remember that. But I remember personally Toys R Us because the way that they had it set up, you went in there and there was like these slips that you can get. And each game, it was on this big wall. And each game had, you know, the description of the game. It'll be the box. You could lift it up. And when you lift it up, you'll see if the slips are there or not. If there's no slips there, that means it's sold out. So yeah, you would take that slip, and it had like the price of the game on it and everything. It was like a yellow slip, and you would take it to the front of the store. Sorry, I hit the mic.
You're good.
I bowed the mic. You would take it to the front of the store, and in the front of the store, it was like this other section where this person was behind glass. You would give them the ticket, and then they would go in the back, get the game, and bring it to you.
Oh yeah.
It was like this crazy process, and then they would give you the Nintendo game. It would be sealed in plastic and the cardboard.
It was meant for people to steal and stuff.
For sure. It was just hilarious how. Yeah, for sure. But it was hilarious how that was the technique of that age. You know, that would never be done now. You know, it's like,
no.
Well, first of all, there's not even cartridges anymore.
Yeah, and GameStop still has that same kind of mentality.
They kind of do.
You have to take it up to them to get the disc.
Right.
You know?
I think, yeah, exactly. And I guess they would tell you if it was gone, rather than, you know.
And you don't get the disc until after the sale is made. If you really pay attention.
Yeah.
They don't let you hold it while it's still running your card. You know.
Right.
So yeah.
But yeah, and I think, you know, at that age too, when I was getting games, it wasn't nothing like now where you get like 5 games for $20 or something, or we're just obviously we have our own money, so we could spend throughout the year tons of money on games if we wanted.
True.
But back then we didn't have, you know.
Yeah, we had to rely on parents and allowance.
And if you didn't have that, I was relying on Christmas and my birthday. Sometimes Easter, you get one thrown at you. You shouldn't on Easter, but that's what they like. You're supposed to just get sent. But I think I did get a video game. I'm not even joking. I think I got the game Batman for NES. I swear I did on Easter. It just is like, I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, that's a good game.
Like, you know, how many years ago? But it was a great game. But some of the yeah, dude. So. Anyways, Dodgeball, Ghosts and Goblins, Willow, Wacky Races, and Wacky Races is I'm just naming NES games.
Oh yeah.
Wacky Races is now worth a good bit of money, and I had a copy. Like I had 2 copies, I believe.
Oh, it's rare now.
Yeah, it's like it's a rare cart now. Just the cart alone's like I believe like $100.
What?
Yeah. But
that's
yeah.
That's insane.
Yep.
Who's paying that?
Some people would, and you know that's cool.
I guess.
I don't got the money for that.
Yeah.
Look, $186.
See, why?
But I would get games also at flea markets at times. You know, my mom would take me to flea markets and stuff, and I would see. And it was like super cheap back then. You just see a box full of Nintendo tapes. We called them Nintendo tapes. Remember that?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You see, again, you didn't play back then.
Cartridges.
Carts. Some people call them carts. Some were like Nintendo tapes.
No, I did play. I didn't own.
You didn't own them.
Yes.
Friends or family.
Yeah, friends and family. Yeah, I did play 100%.
Okay.
So because everybody that I knew around me had it.
Yeah.
You know, like when I did when we did settle down, when I used to live in Texas. There was a family next door that had a Nintendo.
Oh wow!
And I was
probably
always over there.
Awesome to play that, man. Like,
oh my god!
You probably wanted to go home and wish you had that. So,
yes.
That feeling is, and then once you did own something, it was just great, you know.
Being
it
able,
was.
Like it actually was. I mean, it wasn't pointless because it got me into gaming, but it was kind of pointless for me to rush through this game that is at somebody else's house that I probably never will play again.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to go back and finish that story, you know? It's
Dude,
like not finishing a good book, you know?
Oh, heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. I remember just a simple memory of my past of playing NES. I was with my aunt, and we would go to Michigan and stuff. And this was like, I was probably like 15 years old or something, but maybe 14 years old. But where we stayed in this cabin, we had some neighbors, and they had kids. It was like a family that had kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And I started playing with them. I was there for a week, so I was hanging out with them. Well, I found out that inside they had Nintendo. So I was playing Nintendo, and we played all sorts of games, and it was fun, man. Those were the best days, man.
Yeah, when you didn't have no responsibilities.
Yeah, yeah. I remember another memory real quick is being in my buddy's. I was staying over at my buddy's house, and he had some older brothers, and we took the Nintendo inside of the storage shed with the CRT outside storage shed, hanging out. We started gaming. We had all these games and whatnot. Out comes the older brother, takes the controller from us. Had no choice. And he puts in Metal Gear for Nintendo. And I'm not even joking. He played it the whole entire night and just beat it. It was awesome to watch.
Oh,
and I remember we just stayed up watching.
You watched it?
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
I think I passed out a few times. You know how you do.
Yeah, yeah.
Woke up, a little sleeping bag, kept watching them.
Yeah, like I said, when
you couldn't see that. Yeah, that was like Twitch. I was watching someone play a video game. Like that's. I used to actually like watching people play video games. I used to like watching, and some of the people I knew back in the day were really good at video games. So I'd watch them play and beat the games. But yeah, what are some of your favorite ones when you first started playing for PS1? What are some of your favorite games?
Crash Bandicoot. I remember playing the original Crash Bandicoot for PS1. Amazing game.
You get the remaster?
I do not. I do not.
Gotta snatch it one day for old nostalgic reasons.
I definitely will. I mean, might as well. I think it's like $20 now.
Yeah.
And you throw $20 away every day. But what else did I play? I was real big into Madden, the Madden games.
Yeah.
I believe it was no, Game Day. NFL Game Day games.
I was listening to some people talk about games, and because I don't know much about Madden, but someone was saying that people still to this day go into retro game stores looking specifically for Madden 2K because they say it was like the best one.
It was
like Madden 2K, yeah, for PS1.
It definitely was.
So I don't know what that's about, but what was that different from that one? Why people still sought out to get that one? Do you think?
It's weird because I believe because of the game mechanics,
just the gameplay and stuff.
Because right now, and this is kind of slipping into a little bit of the new, a modern game. But the new Madden game mechanics are not that great. When you can throw a ball, it hits somebody, it'll wiggle in the air.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden come back and you'll catch it. So with that, Madden 2K was the most sound game out of the whole franchise.
Did you had that for PS1?
I did.
Dope.
It was the one where you can actually throw it. It recorded this, like right now, it records the stats wrong. Like they'll say wrong things. They'll be like
just little glitches like that.
Yeah, little glitches, But that one was damn near perfect.
Nice.
In that aspect, at least.
Some of my favorite games. I mean, I told you what I was playing first for Nintendo, and those were some of them, And I named a couple that were also some of my favorite. But after that, I got Game Boy. Is my next.
Oh yeah.
I got Game Boy, the old school brick.
Yeah.
Gray one. I still
white brick.
Yeah, I bought another one actually years ago, like a couple years back, just to have one.
Yeah. And
I actually played it a few times, but that was dope too, man. I have awesome memories of the Game Boy.
Same.
This was a time I was traveling with. I think I was with my aunt again. It's funny, but I was at someone's house, and there was a tornado warning. and the tornado like seriously came like super close to us, powers out, everything. Storm was going crazy, dude. People were panicking.
Yeah.
Everyone in the house, and I'm like, I was panicking a little. I'm panicking.
You're calm.
I don't remember panicking, dude.
I got the brick.
Dude, that's why. Because I had the brick, and I also had that fucking old school, big old rigged up light that came with it, the attachment. God. And I had that too. And I had all sorts of batteries. I had a backpack with extra batteries, dude. And I was rolling around with games and stuff, man. And I had Link's Awakening.
You had so much Nintendo weight on you. You weren't flying around in a hurricane.
Dude, in my opinion, Link's Awakening,
awesome.
That's super sweet. I want to get the remake. It just came out.
I just watched some gameplay. It was awesome.
Yeah. But the one for Game Boy was so great, and I believe is even better than the one for Nintendo, even though I love the one for Nintendo. I think it's more like almost approachable. It's easier to get through the missions and stuff, whereas Nintendo is more cryptic. You really had to search around in the one. I love the one for Nintendo though. Don't get me wrong. But I had such a great time for the one for Game Boy, and it got me through that little that crazy, not tragedy, but that crazy moment. And I think there was all sorts of damage right around us. The tornado came super close, but I played that freaking thing all night. I remember being in a corner just playing it. It was super cool, man. The Game Boy was like one of my favorite things when I was young, because I think just because you could take it around, that's why I like the Switch.
Yeah, because it's so.
It's like I got portable. That handheld thing engraved in my head. You probably do a little bit too with the Tigers. Like it's just something about holding the game and chilling.
I didn't own a Game Boy, but I was borrowing one of my friends because they just weren't playing it.
Right.
And the one thing that I did not like about it is you can't play it in the sun.
Yeah, you can.
Oh man,
that's how you have to play it. You have to play.
Sun?
Yes, you have to play it in the sun. Maybe there was a way to. Yeah, there was a way to.
Maybe there's too much shadow. Maybe I'm mistaken. Too much shadow because normally
that if there's too much darkness, you couldn't play it.
Okay.
But the more light, the better. And the way to adjust, there was the contrast button
contrast
to make it darker or lighter. Mm-hmm. So that you can in the sun. If it was like direct sunlight in there, it might like glare or something. But light is what you needed for that. You might have maybe like I said, it was too much sun or it was too much shade.
I just remember always playing in the car, like in the back seat.
And you could.
We always did a lot of traveling.
Yeah. And at nighttime you couldn't play it unless you had that light, or, you could play it in lamplight.
True.
I remember getting just on my couch, and I would have like a lamp right here, one of those like, bendable lamps.
Yeah. So you can.
And I would put it right on my Game Boy and just play that, man. It was so fun. And I would play my NES too, but Sega was when I got to be like 13, I think, or 12, about 12, 13 years old, I got Sega and Super. I think I got Sega first, and it was like, I think the retro era is so much more intriguing than this era because there were so many more leaps.
Yeah.
In like this system to this system and next gen was more mind blowing, more eye opening. For example, PS3 to PS4, they're basically making the same games for it, GTA and stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
you're right.
You can tell a graphical difference, but
it's the same game,
and you're still getting wild in some ways, because PS4 is amazing looking, like Until Dawn and stuff.
Yeah.
PS3 probably couldn't do that, but PS3 had some amazing looking games as well. Even the PS2 to the PS3 was cool. It was still like holy shit. But
that's really where it made its graphical jump.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, this is.
It did make a graphical jump, but the dramatic difference from NES to Super, or Super to Nintendo 64, it was just more of I'm playing something totally different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Something you've never seen before.
Yeah, because PS2 to PS3, yes, the graphical difference was, but the gameplay was the same. Like God of War for PS2, and then you play God of War for PS3. Yeah, graphically the one for but it's the same gameplay. It's the same kind of game. It can produce the same. It can produce pretty much the same image. Where if you play Nintendo Mario and then play Super Nintendo Mario and then play Mario 64, it's just such a much.
Yeah.
They were just being much more innovative, you know. I just love. I remember being so wowed by Super Nintendo and Sega, and then
Super Mario World, because that was the game. It came as a package for me, because that was the second console that I owned that wasn't PlayStation, and amazing.
It was amazing,
it was amazing.
What you always did was you go to a mall or something, or you go somewhere, and everywhere you went back then in the 90s and 80s, there was arcades. And the arcades produced the best games back then. Back then they did. They produced the best games. So you would see Mortal Kombat, and you'd be like, what the hell is this, you know? And then you would get it for Sega, and it was cool, but it wasn't the same thing.
Yeah, as the arcade?
No.
Oh, hell no.
And I think it wasn't until probably around like Dreamcast, I think, even PS1 wasn't hitting it like the arcade still. It was getting close. But I think, in my opinion, I thought about this the other day before this episode. I think the first time I said, this is arcade, was Dreamcast when I got it, yes, playing Soul Calibur.
Oh yeah,
because it was like that was arcade.
Yeah,
it was arcade. Dreamcast brought Crazy Taxi and all that, and it looked like arcade, and I was like,
Power Stone.
Power Stone, hell yeah, that was on there.
Yeah,
was Power Stone arcade? Because I've never played it in an arcade personally. I haven't, but it might be.
It was.
It might be.
Yeah, I think it was arcade.
Might be like in Japan or something, but I do not know that fact. I don't want to talk and not say something. No, but that's not true. But let's see. It probably was. This was released on the Sega Naomi hardware. So yeah, I think it was. I think it was, bro.
Yeah.
So yes, it was a. Here's how this works.
It was.
It was a cabinet, and then it got ported to Dreamcast. I'm gonna punch a mic. It got ported to Dreamcast, and then the second one I think was just Dreamcast, because Power Stone 2, I had that as well.
Yeah. So like I said, when I used to live in Texas, there was a mall that had a whole arcade. It was huge.
Okay.
Humongous.
Yeah, tell me about some of your arcade. Arcades are dead,
man. Yeah, and this mall was only 5 minutes from the apartments that I lived in. So we would go there, and I would ask if I can go there because there's so much. That's where I used to play X-Men arcade.
One of the best.
Simpsons arcade.
One of the best. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was one of the best.
I don't think it was there. It might have been in a rotation, but
yeah, those were the best fighters.
I remember those two. And there was this one
street fighting
where it was a hologram of a western, and you had to push a button in a time fashion and to predict her fate. And it was, like I said, it was a hologram.
Okay.
And he'll be like, draw, partner, and if you don't hit the button at the right time, he gets shot by the other hologram person that he's dueling with. Amazing. I remember that.
Time Traveler?
Well, it was on the level of Time Traveler, yes, but it was a western.
Okay.
Because Time Traveler, I think, is space.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was a western, yeah, but yes, it was one of those holographic table games. I remember because as soon as you walk in there, it was in the middle of this huge arcade.
Okay, that's awesome. I've never even heard of that.
Oh, it was amazing.
Dope.
Hard, very tough.
Nice.
Very tough. But yeah, that was definitely one of my 90s arcade experience, and that stuck in my brain.
Arcade is right there with the retro because, like I said, the arcades were. The arcades are dying now, obviously.
Oh, of course.
They're dying off unless you go to a Dave & Buster's or something.
Yeah.
Like, arcades were such the shit. You've seen kids lining up to Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat. You couldn't even get to play them sometimes. The bigger kids were there, just crushing it. Or there'd be someone that just wouldn't get off the sticks because they're so good. Sure. Street Fighter 2.
Beating the whole damn story.
Yeah. Like, for instance, Super Nintendo Street Fighter 2. amazing game. Still wasn't arcade quality though.
No.
So so yeah, I don't know. I got to after the Super, I got the and the Sega. I got my dad got me a Sega Channel, which was so much ahead of its time because it was the first. It was basically a streaming service, but it was through the cable company. So it literally plugged in the back of your CRT TV, like screwed in the back of that cable extension, and it was through the cable company, and you streamed video games, and you got 30 new games, or not, maybe even more. I forget how many. You got tons. I got to experience tons of games through that.
Yeah, because it changed
tons,
every month, didn't it?
Every month, and then it went every 2 weeks. Yeah, they changed it. For a while it was every month, and then they went even faster, which I didn't like because I couldn't beat games in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I was trying to.
Who can do that?
So Sega Channel, and then that was like my pinnacle of like. I was getting into games at that point.
I never had it.
Getting into games.
I had a friend that had it. Amazing.
I was skipping school a lot, when I was a kid.
To play it.
To play that, to play Nintendo. I was skipping a lot of school.
It was innovative.
And then when I got into high school, and don't do this, kids. I got by though. I'm okay. When I was in high school, I skipped tons of school as well, and I played PS2 a lot, and I played tons of Dreamcast. It's bad to say, but some of my best gaming experiences were just skipping school and going to my buddy's house and like playing fucking Dreamcast, like, or PS2, PS2, that was getting further up, towards the end of, like I said, retro, but there was a lot of great games on PS2, man. The library for PS2 is so extensive.
Yes, it is. Crazy. One of my favorites, it's not everybody's cup of tea. The Path of Neo.
I have that. Yeah, I actually have that. That's a real dope game.
And I remember playing it a few months back over Bnomical's house.
Yeah, it's a great game. My PS2 actually just stopped working.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. There's guys that know how to fix it. I could either get another one or get it refurbished. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But that happens with them old school systems.
Of course,
they're getting to be, like I said, PS2 2000. That's 20 years old almost.
That's why they are on the retro.
Yeah, exactly.
List. I mean that is it right there.
I wanted to talk about, now that we talked about all the games and all that fun stuff. This is kind of talking about now, but there was a period of time where after Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and all that, it went to like 3D.
Yeah.
Mario 64, Resident Evil.
Yeah, Mario 64.
Tomb Raider, and all that, and it was real blocky looking, but it was acceptable.
It was awesome.
It was amazing. But most games were geared towards that. A lot of games were not 2D. In fact, Nintendo 64 has just a handful of 2D games, and only a handful of those are any good. Mischief Makers, which is one of them, is super sweet. Anyways,
never heard of that one.
They didn't really start dabbling into making what I like to call like modern retro games until like a few years back. Like they started making like games like Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
These games that are retro, they make retro style on purpose. But there's a for sure difference. The gameplay, like, it doesn't lag, obviously.
No, not at all.
So it's like, and the colors are so many more palettes of colors they can use.
Hell, yeah.
And like there's like depth sometimes to the retro games. The bosses are much more bigger magnitude, but it still again has the same retro look as these old games. Octopath Traveler took us back to like games like Chrono Trigger, and I just showed you on my Switch. Octopath, I got like 95 hours on it. It's my favorite Switch. I don't play my Switch like I do play my Switch, fairly bit, not too much, but that game I focus on because I just love it so much. But it's a total throwback, so I see what they're doing. With that style, a lot of indie developers jump on that, making some 2D Metroidvania. Because people still like those games, and that's what will get even young gamers. That's what gets them on playing these games that we grew up on, maybe like Nintendo games and stuff, because they're playing them now. If you're playing Shovel Knight now,
I just played the remastered on PS4.
Oh, it's a great game.
It was for the first time ever playing Shovel Knight.
Yeah. But if you give them that, and then after they beat that, give them Super Mario Brothers 3 for Nintendo, they'll enjoy that. Because that's a great fucking game, you know? So, I love that they're doing all this new... I'm always, like, waiting for the next dope-looking retro game. We were just looking on Twitch, and we seen someone playing Blasphemous.
Oh.
That's a retro... You see what he was playing?
Yeah.
That's a retro-looking modern game, you know?
Was it remastered?
No, it's a new game, but with retro like Shovel Knight or something. Yeah, brand new game. You know. Oh, Shizer, almost fell.
No, you're right.
No, you gotta call 911.
Please call 911.
So real quick, just for some ending thoughts. I know that you don't too much. I don't think you own any, but I still every once in a while play on original consoles and play the original games.
Yeah.
And when you come over, every once in a blue moon,
oh yeah,
I'll bust it out and we'll play on some original stuff.
On some original Nintendo.
On a CRT TV, I still do that. It's just something about it for me personally. I like doing it. But now all the games are on this. Like I was just showing you on my Switch, they got all these Nintendo games and Super Nintendo games now. Yeah, I'm loving the way they're doing that. A lot of people don't like Nintendo Online, and it wasn't the best when it first came out, you know.
Yeah.
But now it's worth it, man. You get a lot of games. I showed you a couple other free games.
Yeah, good games.
Nintendo,
I thought there would be obscure titles that like nobody really heard. There's like, we'll just give them this bullshit, you know. But no, I mean, Super Mario World. That's something like if I want to play it right now without getting a Switch, I gotta buy a separate console, then the game. Like,
and sometimes that can cost a lot of money. And,
yeah.
And I was just playing Demon's Crest. Look up that on Loose Copy. That's like a $90 game.
Yeah, and you got it for free.
If you have Nintendo Online,
which is $20
a year, $20 a year is
that's
very
what I'm
cheap.
saying. I'm spending more than over 20 if I want to get the original system and the game.
I mean, there's always what you're not paying for. The reason it's so cheap is because it doesn't have communication. I can't like talk to you. We would have to like get on my PS4, and we could talk like that in a party and then play. They don't have like that kind of communication yet, and there's just a whole bunch of other stuff. Like there's not a lot of online games for it, and also I've played some Nintendo games with people online, and it does not work out good.
Oh,
it was super laggy.
Really?
Yeah, you'll be trying to jump, and it won't jump right. And for platformers, you can't get nowhere.
Yeah,
you'll die. So I couldn't. We couldn't
you need
play
precision.
It. I would say it's unplayable. I don't know if it's gotten better. Yeah. Now I will say I was playing with someone in Australia. I was playing with someone in Australia on Twitch, but so I don't know if like me and you were playing. We live closer, obviously.
I don't know.
But so it might have been across the world. Like I don't know, but it should still work. Like I've also played PS4 games with the same guy, and it worked fine.
Was he laggy?
Hell yeah, man! We couldn't play at all. We were trying to play River City Ransom, and we were like punching, and it was like not working.
You know
correctly.
what? I think I was actually watching.
Yeah, you were watching that stream,
yes,
dude.
I was watching that. Yes, I do remember.
So it's the service because, like I said, we play PS4 games. We actually beat Bloodborne on stream.
Yes, so I've seen some of that as well.
If we did that, then that means there couldn't have been lag.
Well, I think there's just more. I don't know how they do it. Cell towers, we'll say. For PS4.
Yeah. Yeah. So the online isn't. Now I played Mario Kart online, and that works well.
But you weren't playing on an EU server or nothing like that, or however, because you would have to switch servers, wouldn't you?
What's that?
To playing with Jay, you would have to go to the EU servers.
No. The way the Switch works is like if you're you have to be friends with them first, and then you got to like go into their party, and they're gonna invite you in it, and then you have to be playing the same game. There's it's not like PS4. You can't join any parties. You have to be playing like the same game, and you have to like join up in this little server.
There's no. I'm surprised there's no way you can switch from EU to American servers.
No. I mean, we're all in the same. I mean, you can have an account in different regions. You can have an account in different regions if that's what you're asking. But no, as far as playing, you don't have to you can play with anybody.
Yeah, because like if you're playing a PC game, you can even PS4 has a server switcher on some games.
Okay.
Yeah, where you can like if you want to play with somebody, you go to the EU server and it makes it a little bit stronger.
But yeah. But I think that's a cool thing that they're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
PS4, like I said, PS4 and Xbox, for instance, aren't doing that retro thing.
No.
Nintendo's kind of on that. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to go in the future. But that was about it for the retro game episode, man.
Yeah, good episode.
That was it. It wasn't nothing spectacular. Just another take on, and I could talk for hours, but we're making this episode shorter. So hopefully you guys liked it. Until next time, that was fun. Stay gaming, and more episodes to come in the future.
Yes. Please stay tuned. Like you said, more episodes to come. And you guys have yourself a good day.
All right.